Here's an example of a gate operator that hasn't had any service done on it in a while. And you can just see all the dirt and debris and all the cobwebs. And you can see this one actually has a little bit of physical damage. So we're gonna clean this thing up and make it look good again, and test the various components to make sure it's functioning right. Here's a common thing that happens in these truck yards. And as you can see, there's a bunch of grease right there. So we're gonna double check and make sure that we have, yep, it looks like we've got a enough oil in the gear reducer, but it still looks like there's some oil leaking around here. So we'll take a look. Maybe they got a bad gasket or something, but most likely you would see that manifest itself in a low gauge, which is what that is right there. That's how we tell how much oil is in the gear reducer. So, but on top of it, everything looks okay. They've got the cover on, and they have the cover on the control board housing. Although it's bent up pretty bad, it looks pretty good inside there. It's going to be actually, I do see some damage on the control board, so we'll have to note that, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the operation of the gate operator. Here's a quick shot of the limit assembly for the SL3000, and I checked the switches to make sure the switches feel good, and I've already checked them, and then I lubricate the shaft. And with these shafts, you want to make sure that it looks wet, because most likely if it is wet, it has lubricant on it. And then while the operator is turned off, you could check the stability of the bearing and the collar for the shaft, and check the stability for the bearing on the outside. But it doesn't really get any better than that. This operator is it looks like 2012 is when this operator was made, so that's not bad. It's got 4 years, four and some change on there. And one of the ways, the main way to keep this thing clean and keep that lubricant from grabbing any extra debris, is to make sure that this housing is on there. And it's something that you need to carry with you for service. Just have an extra one of these. As you can see, I could barely put it on. The other thing is the lubricant. This is Lucas, and I use a lot of Lucas products, but this one is lithium-based white grease, and you can get this at Home Depot, and that's typically what most manufacturers recommend for their limit shafts. So, as you can see, I cleaned around the gate operator, and down here on the bottom, cleaned all of that out. It still needs a little bit more cleaning right here. I just came to a stopping point. Cleaned all of that around there. Here's the small pile of debris that was left over. And then, as you can see, I cleaned the chain, or cleaned the track rather. And that right there is the pile that was left over just from the track. So that's quite a bit of debris. So make sure you clean the track. Drop chain unit, that's pretty much how you like to see it. You want to fill it with grease, and then you want to put the bullet back in there, and then the grease should come out. That'll help keep it nice and lubricated. The other thing you want to do is lubricate the Knox lock and lubricate the top part of the hinges right there, just to make sure that they open and close freely. And here's the reflector for this particular job. It's mounted on a solid catch post, so it's not going anywhere, and it's got a hood on it that helps protect it from the weather, sun reflections, and the paint or any kind of solvents that are behind the reflector from deteriorating the back plastic and getting in there and jacking the reflector up, causing another service call. And here's the photo eye. As you can see, it's welded. It's mounted to a welded plate, and it's got one of these hoods on it. This is either an EMX or a Seiko alarm, and it's mounted properly. It's not going anywhere, and that's one way that you could test it to make sure that's stable. You can grab it, and if you hear the relay clicking, it means that it's loose enough to where it can get out of alignment and possibly cause another service call. Here's the back of that Elite. I cleaned it all up, and looks like there's still some cobwebs in there that I need to just get. One of the reasons why we're cleaning all this stuff up is also to help kill any scents that are in there that insects or rodents or anything like that would want to get in there and make their home. If they smell their scent or smell a competitor's scent, they may want to get in there and either live or mark their territory, and we don't want any lower predator, we don't want any lower food items on the food chain living in there, making their home, or because that means we'll get bigger predators in here and cause bigger problems, eat up wires, start living in there, causing this service call. So as you can see, I cleaned all around the housing and got most of the big grease and all that stuff off, and you can see that the chain looks wet, and because it is wet, it's well lubricated. It's no longer rusty anymore. And here's another example of what the chain looks like wet. So that probably needs to be done on this chain in another couple weeks, so I'll tell the owners, but do it on your quarterly service call, and that'll help coat it and lubricate it. So here's pretty much the finished product. As you can see, it cleaned out all underneath there. That liquid right there is actually just a wasp spray. It helps prevent wasps from getting in there and living in there, so that'll dry out here in a little while. And then I straightened the housing over here just a little bit to help that seal just a little bit better. Didn't work all that great. The inside housing's pretty clean. Didn't brush it out.